2 months ago, I built this indoor grow rack to start all of the vegetable seedlings for our summer garden, using LED shop lights, a kitchen storage rack, and a bunch of other materials and supplies that I found at my local hardware store or my local nursery. But this is the first time I've ever started any of our vegetable seedlings under lights, and these aren't even grow lights. These are just regular LED shop lights. So I wasn't really sure how well it was going to work, especially how well it was going to work compared to systems like this that are actually designed to be growing vegetables. But over the last 2 months, I've started over 400 seedlings on this rack. Everything from peppers to tomatoes to herbs to flowers, and everything has thrived. I'm Kyle from Urban Farmstead, and in this video, I'm going to give you an update on my LED grow rack to show you just how well everything's doing, a couple of the modifications that I made to it since the initial build 2 months ago, and I'll show you a comparison between my LED shop lights and some LED grow lights to show which one is better, or is one better. I've started one tray that I've had under each, and we're going to compare those. So let's get to it. In this video, I won't go over all of the specs of this grow rack or exactly how I built it because I have an entire video that already covers that. So I'll just put a link to that video in the end of this video. I also have a list of all of the materials where you can find them online if you can't find these at your local hardware store or your local nursery. So let's just start out by looking at some plants. All right, this one is all flowers. This is actually my first year growing this many flowers. I usually don't start that many, not only because they can be a little bit hard to start when you're just doing them in a windowsill or in a hoop house or something, but I'm doing quite a few this year. I've got a bunch of these trays. I actually started a couple of 72 cell trays. I've transplanted them all into either 6-packs or 3.5-inch pots. Here I've got some straw flowers, which are really nice for drying. I like flowers that can be cut and dried and preserved like that. These are sunballs. These are another good one for drying. These are the ones that look like little yellow lollipops. They're pretty cool. So a couple of those there. Some false Queen Anne's lace from Baker Creek. Another tray mixed of some flowers and some herbs here. This is some anise hyssop. This stuff is delicious and it grows like really well. It kind of has like a neat purple green color. It'll sort of fill in like a tall ground cover, if you will, and delicious. Calendula, awesome one. These are good to start from seed, just direct sow outdoor. On the pack it said that's what was recommended. I figured I'd get an early start on some, and they seem to be tolerating these conditions, so we'll keep them going. All right, we're down here at the next level now, and first one up is this Orta pot. So Orta pots are something I've been using for a few years now, and I always start my seeds in them in the windowsill, so this will be the first time under these lights. But this is made by a local small business, and basically it's this self-watering terracotta seed starting pot. So you fill it just like you would any other seed tray. You fill it with your seed starting medium, your seeds, and then there's a cork here. So you remove this cork, you fill it with water, and it's self-watering, so you only have to fill this like once a month, and it works really well. And I just started the seeds in here, so they're not very far along yet. We've got some bunching onions from Johnny's. And the next one over, check out these peppers. These are Tapenade peppers, so they're the heatless habanero peppers. My first time ever growing these peppers, but I'm really excited for them. And look at these peppers, they're just stout, and they've got a bunch of branches on them, and they look great. And these were all started under the LED shop lights, but now they're under these LED grow lights. We'll get to those in a minute, but for now, let's go to the next level. Okay, on this level, I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm starting to harden off. Here are a bunch of herbs, so I've got some different types of basil, I've got some toothache plant. This stuff's rad. So the flowers of this, you chew on them and they make your mouth numb. It's pretty rad. They're also called Szechuan buttons, and they've got quite a few nicknames. Some other herbs here. This is one that I'm really excited for. This is called Mexican Mint Marigold, and it just has a nice like anisey flavor to it. I've got some papalo and some marjoram, some dill. Lots of good herbs going on in that one. And then cucumbers, squash, all sorts of things. And of course, these tall peppers that I showed you before. Now these actually have been hardened off already. I just brought them back inside to show you how well they're doing. These have been outside now for about a week hardening off, and man, these peppers, about 8 weeks old on these. One more level. Let me show you one more level. All right, here we are on the bottom level. Now this level actually doesn't have any light, but what it does have is a heating pad. And this is a full tray of tiger stripe fig cuttings. I start these every year of cuttings from our tiger stripe fig tree. This is my first year ever doing them on a heat pad, and I'm doing them a little bit different this year. So it's just basically, I have these cuttings just clipped from our tree, and they're in a mixture of perlite and potting soil and some wood chips. Let's see how these are doing. These are about 5 weeks along. Oh yeah, look at all those roots. That is a baby tiger stripe fig tree, just started from a branch cut from another tree. Put in a little bit of rooting hormone into this mixture, and this thing's gonna be actually ready to plant pretty soon. I'm excited for these. Let's go up to the next level. What I want to show you next is the comparison between my LED shop lights and the LED grow lights. I think you might be a little surprised. I was. At this point, I think it's safe to say that LED shop lights are very effective in starting vegetable seedlings. But are they as effective as LED grow lights? Lights that were designed and are marketed to grow vegetables? Well, the only real way to know is to start one tray of seedlings under LED shop lights and another identical tray under LED grow lights. So that's what I did. This tray was started from seed and is a mixture of different types of seedlings that were all grown under LED shop lights. This tray is full of identical seedlings all started from seed grown under LED grow lights. Let's compare. All right, this tray was grown under LED grow lights and this tray was grown under LED shop lights. Both trays were started at the exact same time, have been under the exact same light and heat conditions, and each seedling is in the exact same location within the trays. So at first glance, I'd say they look almost identical. In the back here, we've got a mixture of pumpkin and winter and summer squash. These all look pretty much the same. Cucumbers along this row, and then here we've got a couple of sunflowers. I've got some other Long Island cheese pumpkin here, some butterfly pea. The butterfly peas look very similar. The first big difference I'm noticing is right here. So these are Mexican sour gherkin. Again, these were started at the exact same time, same conditions. But this one looks a lot more advanced and is very green. This one is much less advanced and they're pretty yellow. So this was started under LED grow lights. This was grown the entire time under LED shop lights. Now this one has 3 seeds in it that germinated. This one has 4. So, you know, that's gonna make a little bit of a difference, but the difference I'm seeing here is significant. In the front row here, we've got basil. Now these all look pretty similar. These two look very healthy. The ones on the right have a little bit, maybe some burning going on, but they're identical. They just have the same condition going. All right, after that comparison, I think it's definitely safe to say now that LED shop lights are very effective in starting vegetable seedlings, even as effective as LED grow lights. Now, it's important to know that you can't just use any LED lights to grow vegetable seedlings. They have to be a certain Kelvin range. So anywhere from 4,000 to 6,500K is what you need to look for. These are 6,500K LED shop lights, and I have a link to them in the description below. You can usually find them at most hardware stores. The seedlings started under the LED grow lights were just as good. So I'm not saying that LED grow lights are bad, just that they're not necessarily gonna be any better than LED shop lights if you get the right Kelvin rating. Now I do like the build of these lights. They seem like they're a higher quality. I don't know yet which ones are gonna last longer, but I do know that from my experience, they have been just as effective for starting vegetable seedlings. So get whichever ones you think are gonna work best for you. The only additions I've made to this rack since building it are what I put underneath these heat mats. So before I just had this heat mat on top of this metal grate, and I think it lost a lot of heat through convection. So what I did was I added a layer, actually 2 layers here, of this attic insulation. It's basically a silver foil on top of a layer of styrofoam. And I think one layer of this is fine. It really helps to retain that heat underneath the heat mat. But I had extra after cutting down this one sheet, so I added 2. And I think it's just more efficient. I think it's more energy efficient. So I like that. I would recommend adding one of these to your rack if you build one. I also started about 150 tomato seedlings under these lights, but at this point in the season, they've all been hardened off and either planted out in the garden or given away. So here's a shot from a few weeks ago. This LED grow rack has far exceeded my expectations. I've been able to start way more vegetable seedlings than I ever have, including a lot of seeds that I've never been able to start under regular light. So if you're interested in making an LED grow rack like this, I'll add a link to that video here. If you're interested in any of the materials that I use to make this, they're all in the description below. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this and all the videos coming up on how I'm building our new urban farmstead, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And otherwise, I'll see you all next time.